Hi, welcome to another episode of the TPF podcast. My name is Kris Simonich, and my partner here is Andrea Floyd. And on this podcast, we try to parse apart, deconstruct the best practices in the industry from some of the industry's best minds. Today, we have Jeff Panella, President and CEO of GreenHomeSolutions. Jeff, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks very much, Kris. And thank you, Andrea. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, we're really happy to hear, your story and your background. And so let's start there, Jeff, a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what Green Home Solutions does, and then how did it start? How did it become a franchise?
Sure. I'm happy to do that. So, I've been in franchising over 20 years, and I have to tell you that I'm so proud of the brand that we've built. And it really started from what I would say a need from people. People out there need these services, and even if they don't know that they need it, if they get sick or they have a problem in their house, they start to research what they could do about it. And we really started having a lot of inquiries about what we could do to help with people that had issues in their home, people that had issues with their health. And we started in 2015 as a mold company. Our original founder, Russ Weldon, who I had worked with before, wanted to do a green, healthy type of company that could help people get over their health problems and also take care of this need that's growing in the indoor air quality arena, really globally, right? People are sick, things are happening in people's homes. And so it was born out of this need to help people.
And so dive in a little bit more. So you kind of started out mold remediation, but you do more than that. There's a lot to Green Home Solutions. Tell us a little bit about the types of service and what does that indoor air quality mean?
Sure. Yes, we definitely have expanded our services over the years. And we now, I'm happy to say, we're not just a mold company, we're an indoor air quality company. And we have really a wide breadth of services that we can offer people, communities, and businesses, in fact. So we do mold remediation. We also do air filtration, and we do duct cleaning, and we do radon, and anything that's related to indoor air quality, we're going to do that. And so part of the biggest part of what we do is we do testing, and we do all kinds of testing. We can test for mold, we can test for bacteria, things that create asthma issues, but also really nasty things like VOCs, volatile organic compounds. And these are things that are natural in the homes. If you have plants that it's decaying biological items. And we get calls from people that are sick with asthma, that are just sick, kids that are sick, and we can go in and restore the environment to a healthy ecology with our EPA registered products that are really proprietary toward with Green Home Solutions.
It seems like a very meaningful business in that it sounds like a lot of time you're helping folks that are experiencing some kind of health problem, right? But where's the green part come into it? Because when I think of green, I think of minimizing carbon dioxide or saving on energy, right? Or how's that fit into Green Home Solutions?
Sure. So we use EPA registered products, and in doing so, we are not creating issues in the environment with harsh chemicals. And one of the reasons that we've been so successful is that when people are sick or they have chemical sensitivity, when you go in and you use an EPA registered product that's safe when used as directed, that is just an enzyme product and not a bleach or a chemical or other harsh things, unfortunately, that are out there that, something on the shelves of Home Depot that they say will kill mold or other bacteria. Those things can be and are very, very, very harsh. And so when we leave a home or a business, we know, one, that there was an issue before because we do pre-testing, and then afterward we do post-testing, so we know we did our job. But what we also know is that we didn't leave another issue in that home, meaning we didn't leave harsh chemicals. We didn't leave things that are going to create more asthma issues for people, children, or pets. Everything we use is okay for pets and children and people. But the most important thing is that we know how to remediate in a safe way using very strict protocols, and we make sure that we do what we say we do, which is to bring a home or business back to a safe ecology.
So, Jeff, there's a lot of companies out there that do sort of disaster where they go in, they do mold remediation. It may sound like Green Home Solutions started out that way. How is that similar to your business model, or how does it differ from what you do?
Sure. Actually, very, very different. And I'm happy to say that when our franchisees come into our system, one of the things they like the best is that this is a lifestyle business, meaning we do very little business after 6 o'clock at night. We do very little business on the weekends. That would be a franchisee's choice to do that.
Hmm.
We also are not a bricks and mortar business. You can run this business from your home. There's not a ton of cost or startup with that. Now, with a disaster business, and we always research whether we would want to get more into disaster or not. I can tell you that with disaster mitigation, you have to be available 24/7. You have to respond to a site within an hour. You have to have a remediation plan within 4 hours, and then you have to be back on that site in the morning. So that's not what we do. However, we do work with those companies because after they're done, they're still going to be mold or issues or things that we need to test for that we can come in and remediate for. Interestingly enough, our largest single sale that we ever had this last month was actually new construction, where they had put up buildings, and because the drywall wasn't installed properly, and it was brought right down to the cement sucked up all of the water, and there was mold in 225 brand new apartment buildings. And we remediated every one of those, and we're going to continue to spray in those buildings our EPA registered enzyme product to prevent any mold from coming back. And so that's pretty significant work, but we differ very much so from a regular disaster company, but we do business with them as well.
Okay, so they're also a referral partner. That's
Yes.
great. Is there other competition in this space that are doing specifically what you're doing? Or
It's very hard for me to determine who our competitors are. I think
Mm,
the real competitors are maybe a mom and pop mold company, but we have no competitors that have the breadth of services that we have that I mentioned earlier. Everything from air filtration to testing to radon to mold remediation.
Yeah. One of the things I want to drill down into much more deeply, because I need to understand this, and I guess we can talk about it from the standpoint of a franchisee who's opening up a franchise. How do you market this business? Because as a homeowner, I don't know when I would know to call you. And then even if I needed you badly, I wouldn't know to call you. Like, so there has to be an educational component to the marketing. So if you're experiencing these problems, asthma, because we chalk everything up to seasonal allergies so
mhm.
the idea that someone goes, you know what? Maybe this is something I need to call Green Home Solutions. How do you do that? How do you build awareness, educate, and ultimately market your services?
Well, I'll start with this. So, in New England, we have kind of an old saying that's like, "Hey, grandma's basement smells musty," and it's kind of
Yeah.
a comforting thing. You're like, "Oh, grandma's
Yeah.
basement," and oh, there's just mildew down there. Well, the educational part on that is that there is no such thing as indoor mildew. If you smell that smell, that's mold. So, um, in order to educate consumers on that, we do a lot of marketing. The good thing for franchisees really is that we take control of that marketing for the first 6 months that they're in business. And we do really a wide range of marketing. We start with managing the website and managing SEO for them. And that also has a PPC component, right, where it's paid search. on the internet, and that's how you show up on Google, right? Show up on the first 3 spots on Google are
Mhm.
paid searches. After that, it's organic. So we work very, very hard with the third party company to make sure we're showing up at the number one spot in each one of those. And that's daily work for us. So our marketing department is in touch with franchisees on a daily basis to make sure that we're getting out into the communities digitally or otherwise, Facebook and all of the common kind of social platforms that how dangerous this is and why it's dangerous and what to look for if there's a smell or a feeling or you're sneezing or you have asthma. If your child's missing a lot of school, the leading cause of absence for children in this nation is asthma. The leading cause of asthma is some kind of mold or indoor air quality issue. So that education really needs to get out there. At this point, there's a lot of legislation going on, kind of globally. There is a very there's kind of an effort or movement to understand what's going on in your indoor environment. And that's also been very good for us because there's a lot of good educational tools out there. But we do specifically try to educate the consumers digitally. Our franchisees do a great job getting out into their community. This is what they love the best. They go out and they go to BNI or they go to their chamber events or their marketing locally. And when they do that, they feel super good that they're trying to help their communities with, with any issues that are going on. We specifically actually just started a relationship with a nonprofit company that all they do is provide indoor air quality air purification at no charge to schools, classrooms. And we're very excited about this. It's a new relationship for us. This will be our charity of choice, but our franchisees are in the right spot at the right time, meaning globally, there is more attention to indoor air quality issues. Right now, there's a lot of legislation going on around clean air for children and in schools. So our franchisees are really super excited to help schools, help their communities, and we can do that with the products and the services that we have.
So let me dig on this a little bit more, Jeff. And I think I'm trying to figure out, I have a girlfriend that every time you go somewhere and stay in Airbnb, like she's a mess, and she's like, I could smell it. Like I don't do
Yeah,
well. Maybe
yeah.
grandma smoked in the house before. Are you removing those kind of smells too? Cat smells? Like that's one that triggers me every time.
Oh yeah, 100%. So we have a very high success rate with our odor products as well. Again, EPA registered products, and we do a lot of odor removal, smoke, and pets, and all of that. Yes.
So when you're out there doing sort of this marketing, you're marketing a lot of different areas. I would think that gets Googled a lot. How do I get rid of this smell? How do I get rid of that smell? And that's where you're kind of populating to the top. And with not much competition, you have more than just the mold remediation piece.
Correct. That's exactly correct. And so we're constantly working on those search words and seasonality. We're very tuned into the fact that there's seasonality. Things can get worse with seasonality. There's always a need for us, always throughout the year, but things change in different times. And there's hurricanes, and then there's asthma season, lots of pollen in the air. So we're able to adapt through our marketing with that seasonality.
I don't want to go too technical here, but I'm just genuinely curious. So I always picture when there's mold problems, I've ripped apart some drywall, remodeling my bathroom, and I found mold, or I'm doing something in a basement and I find mold. But what if I haven't found mold, but I just know that I'm having issues or my kids are having? Can you come in and do a holistic test on my whole house to see if there's any mold somewhere?
I love that holistic test. I love that. That's kind of what we do. We look at a home or a business holistically to see how we can bring that home back to healthy ecology. But if you don't know you have a problem, we will do testing, and we can do all kinds of testing. When I say all kinds of testing, I mean we do everything that's out there from, minimal, aerosols to big machines that suck in the air. And we use all of the industry best practices to make sure we understand what's going on. And then we use a third party lab, accredited lab throughout the country that will determine exactly what's going on, exactly what kind of bacteria, what kind of mold. Mycotoxins are huge right now. If anybody out there wants to just Google mycotoxins, mycotoxins are what's left. So what I would say is it's what's left when other people remediate. What's left is mycotoxins. It's sort of the dead, the dead mold. Let's just make it easy, like the dead mold. But dead mold can actually cause very severe illness. Okay. So you can kill mold with something like bleach, it will come back. Okay. And then the dead cells are also very dangerous. Now, what we use kills the dead, I'll just say the dead cell. We'll make it easy, right? Not technical, but it kills the dead cells, and it also prevents it from coming back because it drills down into the roots. Mold specifically has roots, but other kinds of issues have roots. Because we use this enzymatic solution, it drills down into the root, and it will kill the spore itself, and it won't come back. So you may have something behind your wall, or suspect that, or smell something. We'll test. We can test. We have FLIRs, that's equipment that determines water. We have testing. We can determine what's even behind your wall. If there's something behind there, we'll figure that out. And we don't always need to go in and ruin your whole house and take down walls and everything. We can drill little holes in the baseboard and spray in behind there, and then we can put something in there and actually test to make sure that we've taken care of the issue. So,
Wow.
and if we have time, I'd love to tell you a really great story about why I joined the company, but we'll get to that if you want.
Well, let's get to that. But I think I want to hit on this. So mycotoxins, I haven't heard that since pharmacy school, I think. So you're hitting on that. So one of the things you said is you oftentimes come in after a mold remediation company and you're cleaning up after them. So that's one referral source. Is there other ways that you're getting clients? Because this may not be as natural to a homeowner. Maybe they're Googling and finding some of this and finding you. Is there other referral sources where clients are coming through that?
There are other referral sources, and some of our biggest, what we call verticals, will be the real estate market, and I'll tell you why in a moment. The real estate market, and specifically functional medicine, but also mainstream medical. So, and other contractors and things like that. But specifically with the real estate vertical, we have real estate relationships all over the country, and the reason they like us is that our products work very efficiently, very effectively, right? So showstoppers in the world of real estate are mold and radon. Those are two showstoppers. If even there's a smell, they have to get to the bottom of it, or that sale's not going to go through. If we do a lot of work in attics, we do a lot of work in crawl spaces, and if there's visually some kind of mold, which a lot of times there is in attics, that's a showstopper for a real estate agent, and they want to keep that sale going. Well, we're going to go in, make sure we do a pre-test, do a post-test, and we're going to clear that. And we can even clean the wood and get it back to its original, the way it looked originally, right? And we're going to post-test and make sure we did a great job. And we can do that within a couple of days. Whereas many disaster relief companies, it's going to be weeks and months and very, very expensive. And comparatively, we're not that. And our franchisees feel darn good about the fact that they can help these local real estate agents in their community. And once we do that, those referrals amongst the real estate community, we continue to get those. On top of that, what's has really expanded and continues to just grow for us is this functional medicine vertical. So the medical vertical is huge right now. People are sick, and the one missing element for doctors that they don't always understand is what's going on in their home, right? What's going on in the patient's home. So they have the patient's history, they have what's going on with their health, they can do testing and blood testing and things like that, but they don't know what's going on in the person's home. So if the person has a musty basement, let's say, we'll make it easy, and there's mold coming up into the house, they don't know that. But what's happening now is that as people are getting blood tests and things like that, there's mold toxicity that's getting into their blood. And actually they're saying, hey, what's going on here? And they're referring us. So we have relationships throughout the country with with homeopaths and mainstream doctors.
Okay. Jeff, you've already started down the road of, the franchisees, they've got to develop referral sources, right? You covered that. What else are they doing? Take me through a day in the life of a Green Home Solutions franchisee. They're developing referral sources. What else are they doing? What kind of skills do they need to bring to the table? Who are you looking for here?
Sure, will do. So I'm fortunate enough to say that my brother is a franchisee here. I actually started out as a franchisee, but my brother is a franchisee and he has 5 units here in Connecticut. And so the typical day in the life of a franchisee is around answering phone calls, working with customers, going out and doing proposals, doing testing, right? Collecting those samples, sending them to the labs, managing their people. It depends on if they want to be, kind of what we call an executive model franchisee, where they have all their people are reporting to them and they're just managing. We do that, and those folks do quite well. Or we have the man in the van, where it's just, and that's how my brother's actually still kind of a man in the van. That's what he likes. He likes to be down and dirty, but he's been in business since 2017, and he's consistently grown the business year over year. And he's still involved, but he does have a manager running the business. So he's managing the business, and he'll probably do proposals in the late afternoon. And like I said, I mean, he's got his evenings to himself and weekends to himself. So
that's great. So you were going to hit on, so you became a franchisee and now you work for the company. So tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So this kind of all happened in the same time period. So I have thankfully, a really great story that turned out well. So my mother-in-law I think she was about 80 at the time. And she lives in New England, had the musty basement, and she was smelling things, and she's never been sick. She's talk about like the naturopath and everything. She doesn't take Advil. She's never been in the hospital. I don't think she's ever had a shot, right? It's always a natural way to solve things. Anyway, she's a very healthy person, and she was getting sick, and she ended up getting bronchitis. And, I said to myself, geez, there's something going on here with her environment. She's never been sick like this. And I went to my business partner, one of the co-founders, and I said, hey, there's something going on here. Can we do some testing or do something, right? And they went into her basement, and everybody said, nah, there's nothing wrong there. There's nothing wrong there. And we did some testing, and sure enough, she had it's called Stachybotrys, which is the worst kind of mold. And she does her own laundry, so she's going down into her basement, tracking it up through the house, and it was all over. And so we fixed. She had just a little rain coming in her windows in her basement, but it created the Stachybotrys, and it just built up and built up and built up. And so you wouldn't know it was there. However, I actually hired the franchisee at the time, and he went in there and he remediated. It took about 24 hours. She was back in there within 24 hours. And we've tested that house over and over, and she instantly got better, and she hasn't been sick since that time. Mm-hmm. So when the founder, Russ, asked me to come in and, that convinced me to be a franchisee, but he also asked me to run the company. We had worked together before, and he said, hey, I'd really like to have you come run the company. I was like, this is fantastic. I've been in franchising forever. I love the work. I love the fact that we can give back to people. And I love the fact that our franchisees can do these great things for people. So that's kind of my story on how I got in. And then we took it, as I said, I would say I'm the second co-founder, right? He's the founder. And then we took it from where it was just a mold company to where now it's an indoor air quality company with multiple revenue streams for franchisees, which they also love.
So you're not just a president, you're also a client, right?
That's the saying. You got it.
So real quick, we're going to change directions here now on you, Jeff. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, rapid fire. We're not talking about green home solutions now. We want to, whenever we have an opportunity for somebody who's got so many years in franchising like you do, to just talk to folks that may be listening. The first question is, if somebody's listening, they're really seriously thinking about buying a franchise, any franchise, doesn't have to be yours. What's one piece of advice you'd give them as they consider it?
I would say, well, no matter what kind of franchise you're looking at, and as I said, I think this is my fourth brand in franchising. I would say make sure that it fits your lifestyle, right? Make sure that you're getting the support you need, not only before, during, but after you become a franchisee. Really investigate what kind of training you're going to get. Is it just before training? Is it during training? Is it after training? And also, does the expense meet what you have budgeted? Very, very important that not only you can get into the business and afford the franchise fees, but also that you can maintain the business and operationally run the business. I would say, from your lifestyle, like for us, we have a limited amount of hours you work. There's a limited amount of employees that you need. And for a franchise to have, average sales of 500,000 and above, and have limited amount of employees, work a limited amount of hours, not have bricks and mortar. This fits a lot of our franchisees' lifestyle. And so I would say, most importantly, make sure it fits your lifestyle, and then make sure you've got the funds to afford it, and that you're going to get the training and support you need going forward.
Yeah. Excellent advice. So what would you say to somebody who's already bought that franchise? They're in their first year of business, and we know what that first year of business is like. So what would you say to them?
Well, the first thing I would say is I'm hoping that they got off to the right start. I think the place where franchisees will sacrifice, this is why we do franchisee marketing for the first 6 months, is that they'll kind of sacrifice on that piece. And not because they can't afford it, because they don't know what they're doing. And I understand that, because digital marketing today is so difficult. There's so many facets to this. And that's why we handle it for them. And we use a third-party company with our marketing company. And I would say, don't sacrifice on marketing. And also, we have a saying here, it's called Goya, get off your anatomy, meaning don't stop, get out there, market your business, get into the community, go join the BNI, go to your chamber events, host a chamber events, get passionate about helping your community, go to your churches, go to the schools, things like that.
That's great. I like that analogy. That's a good one, little acronym there. We're going to put that in our repertoire, right, Kris?
Yeah. Anatomy.
I know. I know. I would have changed it a little bit, but I'm not allowed to say that on the podcast, Kris says, so, Well, Jeff, this has been great. I think what I like about Green Home Solutions is it's in an area that's unique. It's different. And I think you hit on that. There's not much competition out there. People don't even completely know that they need this. A lot of the home-based businesses are more of a want. I don't want to do that on the weekend, so I outsource it. Yours is more of a need, and being able to really target those type of customers, get that name out there. A lot of the marketing, the lead generation that you're doing to really tell people there is a better way to affect your indoor air quality. And I think that's really unique. And I think Green Home Solutions is going to do great in that space. So thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate that. And so for those of you that are thinking about franchising, remember that while there's no one size fits all, the perfect franchise is definitely out there for you. To explore your options, visit theperfectfranchise.com and click on Let's Talk to schedule time with a consultant on the Perfect Franchise team. Until then, we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you so much.